With us now, U.S. Senator John Kennedy. Senator, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Guy. Thank you for having me.
We've had a bizarre but true story playing out now for, 43 days, something like that. This government shutdown that the Democrats have caused. It's their baby. It's their shutdown. Now they're very angry that it's apparently going to end, we think, in a matter of hours. You were on the Ruthless podcast a few weeks ago, last month, and we have Josh Holmes from that show joining us later today on the program. You made this prediction. We played it yesterday, but now we have you here, so we'll play it for the audience again. This was your prediction back then about what the denouement of all this would eventually look like. Cut 18.
Here's how I predict Schumer's going to get out of it. I could be wrong, but I think we're not going to budge. And he's going to be forced to go to 6 or 8 of his Democratic Senate colleagues and say, look, I need a favor. Vote to get me out of this shutdown.
Yeah.
He said, now, he's going to tell them, now, look, I got to vote no. Yeah. And I got to dog cuss you a little bit. We got to make it. We got to have some play acting and make this look good. And then we come out of the shutdown. But Bernie, he's tough. But the danger for Bernie, I'm serious. What he's got to watch. He doesn't want to look like he's had a mutiny. Yeah. Because then he's weaker than when he went in.
Yeah, right.
And he wasn't strong then.
All right, Senator, so you basically nailed it, right? Like bingo, bullseye, etc. But it seems to me, and I wonder what your analysis is from the inside of the Senate here, it seems to me that this has played out precisely as you said it would, and yet they've played it so badly that on top of the failure theater that they're engaged in, no one on their side is happy with that, and so the mutiny is happening regardless. Am I missing something here?
No, I don't think you are. Look, Stevie Wonder could see this coming. 43 days ago, our country was rocking along, minding its own business. Our current budget was expiring, but we had been negotiating with the Democrats to pass a new budget, and we said, look, let's just keep government open, continue with the current budget. Senator Schumer comes to us at the last minute and says, I'm going to shut it down unless you give me $1.5 trillion, unless you gut the one big, beautiful bill that we just passed, like a fish. And he said, we're going to tell you, we the Democrats, how you're going to spend the money. Well, you know, as I've said before, my mother didn't raise a fool, Guy, and if she did, it was one of my brothers. I wasn't going to vote for that. No Republican was. And Chuck just shut it down. He just shut it down. But I knew, given his unserious demands, I said, this is not going to end well. And he's going to get out on a limb, and he's going to have to go to his colleagues and beg to be bailed out while at the same time pretending that he didn't want to be bailed out of this. And that's what happened. I mean, it was just what he wanted was so unserious, Guy. I said this the other day. He put the funk in dysfunction. It was so bad. And he just dug up more snakes than he could kill, and we didn't give him anything. A lot of people were hurt. A lot of people went through a lot of pain because of Senator Schumer's personal politics.
The expectation is that pain will start to end later this evening when the House takes up and adopts the bill that you guys passed out of the Senate because, as you predicted, and many of us thought this would happen, 8 Senate Democrats joined forces with you guys to get this thing finally passed after well over a month of all of this dysfunction and harm. In exchange for what? Like, there's still, the base is angry. Most Democrats are at least pretending to be very angry that the shutdown's coming to an end. I don't know what they thought realistically they were going to get out of this. And at the same time, and I'm never going to stop making this point as long as we're discussing this shutdown, at the same time they're trying to say it's a Republican shutdown. It's a Republican shutdown that the Republicans tried to end 15 times, that the Democrats refused to end, and are now furious that it is ending, but it's your fault. What?
Well, there was a lot of play acting. And if you look, exactly 8 Democrats joined with us. Not 9, not 7, not 10, exactly 8. And they were all Democrats, for the most part, who are not running for re-election, who are going to retire, or who are in very safe seats. And I'm glad they did. Don't misunderstand me. I look for grace wherever I can find it. But if my only disappointment, we did not give up anything. My only disappointment was that we had a chance on the last day to introduce a change to the resolution that would have stopped this from happening in the future. I wanted to provide that no senator could be paid during a shutdown. Now, some of my colleagues said, well, it violates the Constitution, which says our compensation can't be changed. But I crafted a way, in my opinion, to make it constitutional. Republican leadership in the Senate wouldn't let me do it. But I'm not going to give up on getting a vote on that.
And you think it is, the way that you've worded this, you think
yes.
You can get it to pass constitutional muster?
Yes. If you want to stop both sides from having a shutdown, you just do two things. You say, look, you can't be paid during a shutdown. And number two, you can't leave Washington, D.C. To be fair, let's say you can't go further than 100 miles from Washington, D.C. You can't go on. If you do that, they won't shut it down. But we did learn something, aside from the fact that Senator Schumer's demands and behavior were both feckless. We learned, we knew it anyway, that Obamacare is just broken. We were told it was going to make premiums cheaper and insurance more accessible. It's done neither. Trying to continue the status quo it'll be like putting fresh paint on rotten wood. And we're going to have a vote before the end of the year on the Obamacare exchanges and the subsidies. And we, meaning the Republicans, we've already started, plan on proposing a new way of providing insurance to people that looks like somebody designed it on purpose.
Okay, so I'm actually very intrigued by that because I agree with you that this is a healthcare crisis. Again, it's been a topsy-turvy, a little bit mind-bending to watch these Democrats say it's a Republican shutdown that we are exclusively voting for and refusing to end, and now we're mad that it's ending. And the reason that we're doing the shutdown that we're not doing, because it's a Republican shutdown, is because of the health care crisis. That's the Republicans' fault. And it's like, well, Republicans had 0 votes in favor of Obamacare. They all voted against it. They had 0 votes in favor of these emergency temporary COVID-era subsidies. They had 0 votes in favor of extending it. They had 0 votes in favor of the deadline that the Democrats set at the end of the year. It's been 100% the Democrats' fault. And now they're again saying, oh, it's the Republican health care crisis. And they'll say, well, because it's happening under Republican control with Trump in office, it's their fault, even though it's the Democrats who have literally voted all of this into existence, all of these problems into existence. So, yes, by all means, hammer them for that. But I think the American people are looking at premiums going up and saying this is not affordable. They might be willing to say, sure, Obamacare is not working, but now what? You said you guys are going to introduce reforms. What do those look like?
Well, everything you just said is true. And the mistake that my Democratic colleagues made, they make it off. They think the American people are stupid. Now, the American people may not read Aristotle every day because they're too busy earning a living. But they're certainly not stupid. Eventually, they figure it all out. They know that Obamacare is not working. What we're going to try to do, number one, these subsidies right now that we're talking about, these are checks, $30 billion worth of checks, taxpayer money, is given directly to the insurance companies. We're going to stop doing that. We're going to make them available in terms of premium support that goes directly to the American people. We're going to look at things like association health plans. We're going to look at things like reestablishing high-risk pools in every state that wants one, so that people with pre-existing conditions can find affordable insurance. We're knocking around a number of ideas. We've appointed 4 people to put together all of our ideas. Dr. Roger Marshall, Dr. Bill Cassidy, Rick Scott, who's a former healthcare executive, Mike Crapo, who's the chairman of the Finance Committee and has jurisdiction. And we're going to have a plan ready within the next, 2.5, 3 weeks. Now, we won't have enough time to do everything we want, but I have been strongly encouraging Majority Leader Thune to please, let's go do another reconciliation bill where we don't need Democratic votes, and we can finish the health care reform in another reconciliation bill. Now, so far, Senator Thune hasn't agreed with me, but I'm going to chase him. I'm going to chase him like he tried to steal Christmas. I'm not going to let up. We passed the one big beautiful bill without Democratic votes through reconciliation. We never would have passed it without reconciliation. We have 2 more chances to do reconciliation bills. We should take advantage of both of them.
Before the midterms, you mean?
Absolutely. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't talk to our Democratic colleagues. We should. But on a lot of the things that we want to do, they're just not going to agree.
Well, yeah,
I hope I'm wrong, but I doubt it.
It sounds like, because I saw reporting just a little while ago that Hakeem Jeffries, ahead of this vote this evening to reopen the government, he's going to offer a discharge petition, which is the minority tool in the House, to say, all right, this is our substitute bill, which is a 3-year extension of these emergency, quote-unquote, temporary, quote-unquote, COVID-era subsidies, including for quite wealthy people under Obamacare. He wants a 3-year extension. The offer from Chuck Schumer the other day was a 1-year extension. All the previous extensions, this whole scheme was Democrat only. Now they want the Republicans at least co-signing on some of this failure now. Is it your understanding that your colleagues are lock, stock, barrel against any extension of these emergency temporary Democrat Band-Aids?
Not without fixing them. And look, Minority Leader Jeffries, I don't mean disrespect, but he needs to put down the crack pipe. He knows we're not going to just rubber stamp as us what we have now. It's just fresh paint on a rotten wood. Now, in fairness, the Minority Leader, he's scared, like a lot of the Democrats. The loon wing, the Bolshevik wing, the socialist wing of the party, whatever you want to call it, is in control. The leader of that movement is Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, and the Congresswoman is going to do 1 of 3 things in the foreseeable future. She's either going to run against Hakeem for Speaker, she's going to run against Chuck Schumer for the New York Senate spot, or she's going to run for president. I mean, she just elected a socialist as mayor of New York. And so that's what's motivating a lot of this guy, is just political fear about what the Democratic Party has become. Not all Democrats believe all of this stuff. Not all Democrats believe that men can breastfeed. Not all of these folks believed in open borders, but the loon wing of their party does and did, and they are in control, and more reasonable members are scared to say anything.
Oh, yeah, and I've been quoting it now fairly incessantly for the last couple of weeks, but the Hill newspaper had a quote from a Democrat Senate source saying that weeks ago there were enough Senate Democrats who wanted to reopen the government. They wouldn't do it because they were scared of the, I think, proverbial guillotine from their base, which is what you're describing here. And as long as that remains an ascendant coalition in that party, I think we'll see more of this kind of thing. U.S. Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, our guest here on the Guy Benson Show. Senator, appreciate your time as always.
Thank you, Guy. Thank you for having me.